I get started. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hi guys, this is Tommy Kim. I'm here with the special guest interview with one of our top producer, Erica Hall, at our Lifetime Realty office. Erica, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Tommy?
Good, good. I've been looking forward to this session because you're someone who's working on your game, and the title, it says 11 million in first year of sales volume, but as a first calendar year in your business, that's such a big accomplishment to put together, and I want to be able to unpack that for the audience today. Yeah.
Sure.
So tell us, before, we always want to know how you got into real estate. So how did you get into the real estate in the first place?
So I guess I should kind of share like where I came from before, what I was doing before real estate. It was completely unrelated, nothing to do with real estate or even sales. I worked a couple of random like odd jobs throughout my 20s. I didn't really have much of a clear direction about what I wanted to do long term as far as a career. But the last job that I was doing, was I worked at a jewelry company, and it was a great job. There was nothing wrong with it in particular. But I found myself after a couple of years there being really unhappy and just not really feeling like I had any direction. I wasn't doing anything that I was particularly passionate about, or I wasn't excited getting up to go to work every day. And I actually dreaded it. And this feeling grew over time. And I started to realize that what I really wanted to do was build my own life, my own freedom, instead of helping somebody else build their own vision and do that for themselves. So I kind of had this period of limbo where I knew I wanted to make a change in my life. I had spent a big chunk of my 20s just kind of being lost and not really having any direction. And then knowing that I needed the change, but not really knowing what that looked like. So I spent a lot of time just kind of uh, sort of like throwing it out to the universe to see like what it would throw back at me as like the next step to take. And I remember just like praying about it. A spiritual person, and just kind of being open minded to it. And there was one day I had a really bad day at work, and I came home, I was just frustrated and exhausted. And I actually fell asleep on my couch when I got home from work.
Uh-huh.
And when I woke up from that, I suddenly had the clearest vision that I've ever had, that I wanted to get my license in real estate.
Mm.
And so I talked to my husband about it when he got home, and he was on board. And that was the beginning of the journey. So that's how it started. It was kind of like a long process of needing change that led to this moment where I was clear about it.
Yeah. Did you be when you got into real estate, did you know kind of what you were getting into, or what was kind of the expectation at the beginning?
So I was like interested that it came to mind as something that I wanted to do. So I one thing I'm really grateful I did is I spent a lot of time educating myself and learning about the industry before I just dove in. So I actually still stayed at that job for 6 months after that moment. But every waking moment that I wasn't at that job, I was watching YouTube videos or reading things, reading books, and trying to learn as much as I could about the industry to find out if it was something that I wanted to pursue. And so I had like a well rounded idea a little bit.
Yeah.
And
So
it really just centered around this idea of like wanting freedom for myself and my family long term.
yeah.
And the more that I read about the industry and what it could provide, from real estate sales all the way into the investment side, I realized that it really aligned with what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Did you know the statistics, like 90% fail first 3 years of getting in the business before you
Yeah.
join? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of like, you just kind of like look at those YouTube coaches and stuff, people that post videos, and that's like the first thing that everybody says is like, if you're thinking about getting into real estate, these are the statistics. Most people fail in the first 5 years. You're lucky if you even do one deal in your first year, all this kind of stuff. So I didn't think that it was going to be easy. but there's no real way to have realistic expectations until you actually get into it and do it,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah. So tell us about how your that first year, how it went. How's your experience?
Well, so like I said, I knew that it wasn't going to be easy. So I tried to have as realistic of an expectation as possible and kind of err on the side of pessimism just to like protect myself. But um, I found myself really early on having that moment that I think a lot of agents have, which is, whoa, this is way harder than what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
And you just see like what the challenges are. And you kind of you get confronted with things that you weren't expecting, like how difficult it is to actually get somebody to sign up with you as their real estate agent. Um, and I think it because it's not, you can't really compare it to much else like any other career. So you kind of, if you're coming from like that employee, like I show up to an office and then the business is already there and I just exchange my time for money, then that's not really like how real estate works. So you have this period of like where you're adjusting to that. You realize that you don't just come physically into the office and have things given to you. You have to cultivate it and make it come to you, and your actions is what you get the return on.
Yeah.
So that whole thing was definitely a learning curve for me in the first year.
Setting up the right expectations, right? Yeah.
Right.
So what were some of the things that started you start having some small wins when you started, and then what was kind of the turning point in your opinion?
So I think in the beginning, well, I know in the beginning, I started to, when I was going through that stage of like realizing, okay, this is what it is to be a real estate agent. I was like, I had this moment where I was questioning if I was really going to be good at it because I didn't have a sales background. And also, my personality type is not one that's aggressive. And it's not one that's like the hard close type of like when you think of a used car salesman is like the analogy that's used often when people think of real estate agents too. And that just isn't my personality. So I would listen to other people that were successful and kind of compare myself to them and say, well, I'm a lot different from them. I don't really have this like, hard close, go get them type of thing. Like I'm way more of like a one-on-one, like asking questions, listening, getting to know people. And so that kind of discouraged me in the beginning, but a big turning point was actually when I realized that that is an asset in this business too. And I just had to learn how to let that come out and really own that and not try to be anybody else and just fully embrace my personality type and let that shine, right? And also like comparing to other agents, like not falling for the shiny objects or the other things that people said would work or the sales tactics, and just having the one goal of adding value to my clients and building relationships.
Yeah, that I mean, first calendar year, 11 million is, a lot of sales. So, um, maybe you can share maybe some of the systems and processes or some of the routines that you started to develop throughout, so that you can have repeatable. You've been closing consistently month after month. Some of the habits you can share with people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think like, well, before talking about systems, like the, I believe the biggest part of this business and being successful is mindset.
Mm,
So like just coming from a place of being open, um, leading from love, like Camille talks about, and just like what are the conversations that you're having with yourself? Like in real estate, there's so many ups and downs. Like throughout the transaction, how do you talk to yourself before you get on the phone in a difficult conversation or a negotiation? And and just like the mindset of where you start from is huge, because then that is going to dictate how you're able to follow through. with your systems and processes and your relationships over time, which is what ultimately makes or breaks your success. So I think just really trying to come from the right positive mindset in everything I do. And then it's all been a learning curve to kind of learn how as I'm going, and I'm still learning as I'm going. So the systems that I use are really basic. It's not really anything crazy. It's just like I have a Google Calendar and I put appointments on it, and I have my contacts in my phone, and I have a board of all I have active in escrow and closed. And I just basically look at that every day, and I know exactly who I need to talk to and what I need to do. So it's pretty primitive, actually,
Yeah, yeah.
but it
That's,
works.
yeah, I mean, simple, the more simple that we can make our business, the more productive that it's going to be. And so you're growing this real estate business like in and at our office, Lifetime Realty and Investment. We also train a lot on real estate investments as well. And so you guys had purchased a house as well. That was off market and a great deal. Can you tell us about that too?
Yeah. So a big part of my why of why I'm in this business, which I shared in the beginning, is to build financial freedom for myself and my family over the long term for a lifetime, and help other people do that too. So it's kind of like this meshing of the goal of like helping people reach their real estate goals. And then in so doing, I'm reaching my real estate goals and my goals for financial freedom. So we kind of knew, my husband and I, that we wanted to do real estate investing as like a long-term like income plan. And so we've been thinking like we'll use what we have in savings and what I'm able to make in my real estate sales to reinvest that into real estate that will give us rental return over time. And so we consulted with you early, I think it was like a year ago, January 2020. And then we were looking for our first deal, kind of learning, like keeping an eye on the market, learning how to identify a deal and the margins and what to look for. And then we found a really amazing off market deal directly with the seller in May. We locked it up. It was about 20% under ARV that we got it, which is after renovation value. And so we moved in August, and we've been slowly fixing it up. We plan to be in there for a couple of years, turn it into a long-term rental, and we're actively currently looking for our next one to move on to after we're done with this one. So our long-term plan is to invest in about 4 properties in the next 10 years and
Yeah.
have that as a goal
That-
for the
that-
10-year plan.
Yeah, good. You have the goals set up for investments. Now, I'm sure you have big plans for this new year, the 2021. Can you share some of your goals for 2021?
Yeah, so this year in 2021, I have a goal of closing 60 transactions.
Right.
And that's a big goal for me. And the momentum has been really picking up, especially the last quarter of 2020. I did like more in that quarter than I did in the whole first part of the first 3 quarters. So I really feel like my momentum is building up. I'm getting referral business. And I just want to keep the ball rolling and keep it up, and yeah, just like improve my client experience, and really like my overall leadership skills and ability, because those are like the things that lead to more business over time.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be listening to this online, and people that are kind of on hold, either trying to get licensed for real estate or interested in getting into the industry, or
Mhm.
even what that experience feels like. What are some advices or pointers that you can give these people?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that I didn't appreciate that much when I was new is that everybody, including myself, I was looking for a shortcut. And So one thing I would tell somebody that's new is there's no shortcut in this business. It's actually the work that works. So you have to do the work to get the results. And real estate is one of those things where like you see it on social media, you're walking through the home, you're giving like, doing all these fun things on the field, and you don't really realize how much goes on behind the scenes. And there's so much grind that's involved. And like it's fun to say 11 million in 1 year, but what that looked like was like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. grinding and like, getting down in the dirt and doing the things that people don't want to do and hearing a ton of no's and like rejection. So there's no shortcut. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable for a while. And mindset is the biggest part of it.
Yeah, I really see that you're definitely covering that. It needs, you gotta come in. When you're coming in, you gotta develop a strong mindset, and that's what separates, being able to understand that it's not gonna be instant gratification like some other people think that it is.
Right.
Looking
Yeah.
outside. Yeah, that's awesome. And so you got these big goals. Maybe some of the, maybe you can recommend a couple books that
Mhm.
helped you in your first year. That maybe it might be a mindset or strategy type of books. Can you share with us a couple books?
Yeah, definitely. I know two right away that were huge for me is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. That is big about little actions every day, compounding over time to give you the ultimate result that you want in your life. And it goes the other way. If the little actions that are negative in your life, they compound over time to give you undesirable results. So that helped me a lot through like on the day to day, the hard days, like, where I felt like I wasn't getting what I thought I was going to get, and just reminding myself that it's like, it's a long game. The little actions every day lead to the bigger result. And the same thing back to instant gratification. It's all about delayed gratification, and the little actions you do every day lead to that. And then the second book that was super helpful to me is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. He's the former FBI negotiator that wrote a book on negotiating. And that was huge because obviously it's such a big learning curve, knowing how to talk to people and other agents and your clients when you're in negotiations. So that's been huge. And I've definitely leveled up recently from reading that book. And I've seen the effects in the way that I'm able to get the desired result for my clients in negotiating.
Yeah, awesome. Both very great books. Yeah, great books. Yeah. So let's say now, like, you have so much you've learned, kind of, it sounds like you started with the mindset, you learned the transaction, and you're now in a business of scaling for this new year. Knowing what you know now, what two pieces of information or advice would you share with maybe yourself first starting out in real estate?
So I think like, kind of the same thing, like there's no shortcut, like just put in the work and the results will be there. We're in the footwork business, not the results business. Like the results will be there if the footwork is there. And then I think it would have helped a whole lot in the beginning if I was really clear on that the best way to build your real estate business is by just focusing on adding value to your clients and building relationships. If you, before every conversation with somebody, um, ask yourself and truly want to find out how you can best help this person. So if you're coming from like, okay, what can I do to like make sure this sale happens? It's gonna like get off on the wrong foot right away. But if you're coming from service and you're like, how can I genuinely help this person meet their needs? Then that's like the secret that I found is like everything else will fall into place if you're just focused on adding value and you actually care about your clients.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about, so I can definitely see when you said from earlier caring about the client and your personality. It sounds like you found a way to really use that to fuel your business 100%. Yeah.
And that's why it's like I think that might be one of the reasons that agents have such a hard time in the beginning, is because we try so hard to fit ourselves as a square peg in a round hole, and try to be something that we're not. And you just really need to have super clear, like you need to have clarity on who you are, what type of person you are.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. So if people watching this video, they wanted to reach out to you, what would be the preferred method of whether it might be clients or agents that want to reach out to you? What would be the preferred method of reaching out to you?
You guys can call me on my phone. Tommy, you can post my number when you post this, and also on Facebook, Erica Hall Realtor, and my Instagram handle is I'm Erica Hall. IMERICAHALL.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people are gonna get on there and take a look at what you're doing. Any last words before we finish this interview?
I'm just super grateful for Lifetime, for you, for your mentorship, and just all of the help this year getting started, both on the sales side and on the investment side. And I just feel really blessed in business and life right now. So if anybody has any questions or needs help with real estate as a client or as an agent with their business, I'd be happy to talk and help.
Mhm. Absolutely. And it's an honor working day in and day out with you as well, Erica.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you so much for your time. Yeah. And later on down the year, or maybe next year, when you get 60 plus transactions closed, I want another interview. Okay.
Absolutely.
All
Yeah,
right.
let's do it.
Yeah. This was the top producer interview with Lifetime Realty, Erica Hall, who's leveling up her business every single day. So, like we say in Lifetime here, level up each and every day. Thank you so much, Erica.
Thank you, Tommy.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye.